She brought laughter to America as the feisty, no-nonsense granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. But behind the scenes, Irene Ryan's life was a far cry from the backwoods matriarch she portrayed. With a career that stretched across vaudeville, radio, Broadway, and television, Ryan was far more than just granny. She was a seasoned entertainer with decades of experience. But what unfolded once the cameras stopped rolling? From her marriage and financial triumphs to the eerie abandoned house tied to her name, Ryan's later years took an unexpected and sorrowful turn. Tragically, just as she was stepping into an exciting new phase of her career, disaster struck. Join us as we delve into the captivating, lesser-known story of Irene Ryan, her rise to stardom, her final days, and the enduring legacy she left behind. Born Irene Noblet on October 17, 1902, in El Paso, Texas, Irene Ryan got her first taste of show business as a child. At just 11 years old, she took the stage at San Francisco's Valencia Theater for an amateur competition, winning a $3 prize for her rendition of Pretty Baby. Even then, it was evident that Irene belonged in the spotlight, but it would be a few more years before she fully embarked on her professional journey. By 14, determined to break into the industry, she secured a role with a California stock company by lying about her age, since state child labor laws prohibited her from working legally. School had never captivated her. She finished just 2 years of high school before dedicating herself entirely to the stage. Over the next 4 years, she refined her skills in stock theater, preparing to carve out her place in show business. Irene found her niche in musical comedies and variety shows, touring California to perform. During this time, she crossed paths with Tim Ryan, another vaudeville performer. The two quickly became a dynamic duo, both professionally and romantically, marrying in 1922. Their partnership lasted 2 decades, not only as husband and wife, but also as a successful entertainment team, propelling them both to new heights in the industry. After establishing themselves in vaudeville, Irene and Tim Ryan smoothly transitioned to radio, launching their own show, Tim and Irene. The pair became famous for their Dumb Dora act, a comedic sketch featuring a delightfully scatterbrained yet endearing woman, which quickly became a national hit. Their rising fame earned them spots on major programs of the era, including The Rudy Vallee Show and The Bob Hope Show. While Irene's comedic brilliance shone on radio, she also made waves in film. Alongside Tim, she starred in a string of comedy shorts, appearing in 11 movies together. Some of their most notable works included The Wacky Family, 1936, Hamlet and Eggs, 1937, and Will You Stop, 1937. Their on-screen chemistry mirrored their real-life partnership, yet despite their professional success, their marriage ended in 1943 after 20 years. Remarkably, their split didn't sever their working relationship entirely. They continued collaborating on film projects even after parting ways. With World War II raging, comedian Bob Hope devoted himself to entertaining U.S. troops overseas. Having already worked with him on The Bob Hope Show, Irene was eager to contribute. She joined Hope's USO tours, traveling globally to perform for soldiers, visit veterans' hospitals, and bring much-needed laughter to those serving. Her dedication extended beyond the war. She also supported troops during the 1948 Berlin airlift, lifting spirits through her performances. Reflecting on the impact of their mission, Bob Hope once said, "Believe me when I say that laughter up at the front lines is a very precious thing. Precious to those grand guys who are giving and taking the awful business that goes on there." He continued, "There's a lump the size of Grant's tomb in your throat when they come up to you and shake your hand and mumble thanks. Imagine those guys thanking me. Look what they're doing for me and for you." For Irene, bringing joy to soldiers wasn't just another gig. It was a way to give back, using her talents for something truly meaningful. Throughout the 1950s, Irene Ryan steadily built her career, landing roles in various television series. Though she was a well-regarded actress, nothing could have prepared her for the career-defining opportunity that arrived in the 1960s. When the Beverly Hillbillies was in its early stages of development, Ryan set her sights on the role of Granny Daisy Moses, a sharp-witted, no-nonsense matriarch who would become the soul of the Clampett family. However, despite her decades of experience, she nearly missed out on the part. The show's creator, Paul Henning, entrusted his casting agent to find the ideal granny, but Ryan wasn't their initial choice. The agent doubted she was the right fit, an opinion Irene refused to accept. Determined not to be overlooked, she took charge of her own destiny. She personally called Henning and made a bold case for herself. "Look, Paul, do I have to go home and put on my gray wig and shawl to convince you?" she challenged, according to the El Paso Times. "If you hire someone older for this role, she won't keep up with the pace. I know how grueling those 7-to-5 shooting schedules can be." Her fiery determination earned her another audition, though Henning later recalled the moment differently. In an interview with EMTV Legends, he explained that Ryan had dropped by his office one day, where he directly asked if she could convincingly play a hillbilly. Without hesitation, she launched into a story that erased any doubts. "Are you kidding?" she said. "I was in a stock company once, performing at a theater in Arkansas. We were waiting backstage for the curtain to rise, but it never did. Finally, we asked the manager why he hadn't let the audience in. He said if he let them in before the show started, they'd whittle away the seats. So yeah, I know hillbillies." That was all Henning needed to hear. Irene Ryan didn't just have the experience. She had the perfect blend of grit and humor to bring Granny Moses to life. When it came time for screen tests, Ryan's audition left no room for debate. Bea Benaderet, another talented actress, was also trying out for Granny. Henning later recalled, "Bea was there to read for the part, but the moment Irene Ryan stepped in and performed, Bea turned to me and said, 'There's your Granny.' She was absolutely brilliant." With that, Ryan secured the role that would immortalize her in television history. Premiering in 1962, the Beverly Hillbillies became an instant cultural phenomenon. The sitcom followed Jed Clampett, played by Buddy Ebsen, a humble backwoodsman who strikes oil on his land and becomes an overnight millionaire. Rather than staying in his rural home, he relocates his family to the luxurious world of Beverly Hills, resulting in a hilarious clash between country simplicity and high society extravagance. Alongside Ebsen, the cast included Max Baer Jr. as the lovably dim-witted Jethro Bodine, Donna Douglas as the sweet and endearing Ellie Mae Clampett, and, of course, Irene Ryan as Granny, the fiery, quick-tempered family matriarch who kept everyone in line. Audiences adored the show from the very beginning. Within just 3 weeks of its debut, the Beverly Hillbillies soared to the #1 spot in ratings, setting a record as the fastest show in television history to reach the top. According to IMDb, it even surpassed Bob Hope's legendary program in audience surveys, a feat no other series had achieved at the time. Behind the scenes, the producers kept a few secrets to preserve the show's charm, ensuring its magic endured for generations. Even decades later, the Beverly Hillbillies remains a beloved classic, with reruns still airing for new audiences to enjoy. Even after securing her iconic role, Irene Ryan never allowed herself to grow complacent. Despite the Beverly Hillbillies becoming one of television's most celebrated hits, she harbored a persistent fear that her job could vanish overnight. In a revealing 1965 interview with the Star-Gazette, she confessed, "I'm always the first one on set for every scene. My entire career, I've been punctual. I used to worry constantly about being fired, and honestly, that fear still lingers." This anxiety wasn't baseless. Ryan had spent decades navigating the unpredictable world of entertainment, touring vaudeville circuits, adapting to radio's demands, and transitioning into television and film whenever opportunities arose. Show business was notoriously fickle, and she had learned early never to assume stability was guaranteed. Even at the height of her fame, she remained vigilant, always braced for the possibility that everything could change in an instant. One of the most remarkable aspects of Irene Ryan's portrayal of Granny Daisy Moses was the dramatic difference between her actual age and the characters. When the Beverly Hillbillies premiered in 1962, Ryan was just 59 years old, far younger than the elderly matriarch she so convincingly brought to life. Granny, who often reminisced about the Civil War and other 19th century events, was implied to be in her 80s, given that she was Jed Clampett's mother-in-law, and Jed himself was no spring chicken. By the time the series concluded in 1971, Ryan was still under 70, remaining decades younger than Granny's supposed age. To bridge this gap, the show's makeup team worked miracles. Each filming day, Ryan underwent an elaborate transformation involving heavy makeup to etch wrinkles, deepen shadows, and contour her face, artificially aging her appearance. Her signature gray wig and dowdy, period-appropriate costumes sealed the illusion. The aging techniques used on Ryan were so masterful that audiences of the era never suspected she wasn't genuinely elderly. The methods pioneered on the Beverly Hillbillies later became industry standards, influencing shows like The Golden Girls. On the low-resolution TVs of the 1960s and 70s, the effect was flawless. Only with the advent of high-definition technology years later did some of the makeup tricks become faintly detectable. Yet Ryan's performance was so authentic that even today, viewers rarely pause to question her character's age. Irene Ryan brought Granny to life across all 274 episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies, which concluded in 1971 after 9 successful seasons. The show earned numerous accolades, and Ryan herself received 2 Emmy nominations in 1963 and 1964 for outstanding continued performance by an actress in a series. Retirement was a word that held no place in Ryan's plans. She was determined to keep acting for as long as possible. Irene Ryan made her lifelong commitment to performing abundantly clear in an interview with the Sydney Morning Herald. "Retire? Honey, I want to die with my boots on," she declared with characteristic wit. For the veteran actress, stepping away from the spotlight was never a consideration. While her role on the Beverly Hillbillies represented the pinnacle of her career success, she found it amusing that fans only recognized her when she spoke. "My voice always gives me away," she explained. "I can walk down the street unnoticed until I open my mouth, then heads turn immediately." At the time of this interview, Ryan was visiting Sydney for a special performance at the South Sydney Junior Leagues Club. Though she kept specifics about her act private, she teased that several of Granny's iconic props were carefully packed in her luggage. Transitioning the beloved character from television to live performances came naturally to Ryan. "Audiences adore seeing Granny on stage," she shared. "When I performed her in Las Vegas, she brought the house down." The character's popularity translated perfectly to theatrical settings. Despite her indelible association with the no-nonsense Granny Moses, Ryan's off-screen personality contrasted sharply with her famous role. Colleagues and friends described her as warm, gracious, and possessing an infectious enthusiasm for performance. Her remarkable career spanned more than 50 years across virtually every entertainment medium. "I won't reveal my age," she joked, "but I've worked in every area of show business except burlesque. That was never my style." Ryan's dedication to her craft remained unwavering. "I intend to keep playing Granny until I drop," she asserted. "I've always believed that when people talk about retirement, they might as well be talking about giving up on life." This philosophy would guide her through an exciting new chapter in her storied career. Following the Beverly Hillbillies' conclusion, Ryan didn't linger in Hollywood. Instead, she returned to her first artistic love, live theater. "Nothing can replace the magic of performing for a live audience," she told the El Paso Times, "though television is here to stay as our greatest entertainment medium." This homecoming led to one of her most celebrated achievements, originating the role of Berta, the feisty grandmother, in Bob Fosse's groundbreaking musical, Pippin. At 70 years young, Ryan earned a 1973 Tony Award nomination for Best Featured Actress in a Musical, adding to her 2 prior Emmy nominations for the Beverly Hillbillies. Her show-stopping number, No Time at All, became an instant audience favorite, stopping the show nightly with thunderous applause. The New York Times praised how she stole the show in just 10 minutes on stage, leaving co-star John Rubinstein waiting through extended ovations before continuing his lines. Standing just 5'2", Ryan possessed energy that belied her age, often socializing with crew members long after her performances ended. Financially secure with a $1 million net worth through wise investments, she continued working purely for love of the craft. Tragically, she suffered a stroke during a performance and passed away on April 26, 1973 in Los Angeles. The official causes were glioblastoma and arteriosclerotic heart disease, marking the end of an extraordinary life dedicated entirely to performance, just as she had always vowed. Irene Ryan's passion for acting burned brighter than anything else in her life. She maintained an unwavering commitment to her art until her very last breath, demonstrating the same fiery spirit that made her portrayal of Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies so iconic. This dedication extended beyond her professional work into meaningful philanthropy that continues impacting lives today. Ryan's devotion wasn't limited to her craft. She possessed an equally strong commitment to helping others. She established the Irene Ryan Foundation with the specific purpose of nurturing emerging acting talent. In a remarkable act of generosity, she arranged for her entire estate to benefit this cause after her passing. The press of Atlantic City reported that Ryan bequeathed her complete fortune, exceeding $1 million, to create student scholarship funds. With no direct heirs, she ensured her resources would support countless future performers, establishing an enduring legacy that continues assisting theater students decades later. Ryan's professional journey reached its poignant conclusion during her Broadway debut in Pippin at age 70, where she played Berta, a vibrant medieval grandmother. This role earned her a Tony Award nomination, proving her talents remained undiminished by age. Tragically, during a March 10, 1973 performance, she collapsed on stage and was hospitalized. She passed away on April 26 following a stroke. Her Beverly Hillbillies co-star Buddy Ebsen fondly remembered her as a joy to work with, a sentiment echoed by countless colleagues. Whether through her television work, stage performances, or philanthropic efforts, Ryan's influence continues shining brightly long after her departure. While Irene Ryan created a legacy of laughter and memorable characters, one lesser-known aspect of her story involves an abandoned property she once owned. This now dilapidated home serves as a silent testament to the actress's off-screen life. Though her television character inhabited a luxurious Beverly Hills mansion, Ryan's actual residence was considerably more humble. Over time, the property has succumbed to neglect, with vegetation gradually overtaking the structure. Urban explorers report finding the interior frozen in time. Furniture, personal effects, and even career mementos remain scattered throughout the decaying rooms. Dusty shelves allegedly still hold framed photographs, yellowed newspaper articles, and other artifacts offering glimpses into Ryan's private world beyond the spotlight. Though the house now stands forgotten, fans continue cherishing Ryan's memory, not just for her hilarious portrayal of Granny Clampett, but for her genuine kindness and artistic dedication. While time may have reclaimed her physical dwelling, Ryan's cultural impact remains as vibrant as ever. The contrast between the abandoned home and her undiminished legacy poignantly illustrates how the most meaningful aspects of a life well lived transcend material possessions.